What does a 3D vector say after making a bad joke? IJK. What's up everybody, I'm Shivam Pand and you're watching The Techpreneurs. So apparently most of the games that I have created right now are just 2D games, which is good and okay, I like 2D games, but the thing is they don't have any depth. So this time I thought let's do something different, let's create something big and thick. So that's why I decided that I'll be creating a 3D game. And you know another thing that is big and thick? And apart from the 3D genre, another thing that I have never touched is puzzle games. I've always enjoyed playing and solving puzzle games, so it would be a shame if I don't try to create something related to that genre. So this time I'm thinking of creating a 3D puzzle game. Magic.
Oh yes. I have achieved comedy. I can finally... Oh no.
Pulling up, shut it down when I'm pulling up.
So as I was thinking that I'm going to create a 3D game, then I decided that why not create the game in Unreal Engine instead of Unity. Because it is easier to get a game with good graphics in Unreal than in Unity. Although you can also get a game with good graphics in Unity, but it is a lot difficult than what you do in Unreal.
Okay.
So in my first attempt, I started watching Unreal Engine tutorials, and very soon I came to know that the difficulty curve of Unreal Engine is really steep, and if I have to create a game in Unreal Engine, then I have to devote a lot more time than what I initially thought. So I thought, let's dump this idea and go back to Unity.
Stupid.
Now I jumped back to Unity and started a new 3D scene with extra features like post-processing and UR, which is the Universal Render Pipeline, which I think would be perfect for my game. And as I started coding and trying to create something in my 3D project, I quickly realized that creating a 3D game is very different than creating a 2D game, because firstly you have an extra component, the Z component, which you have to include in all your math and physics calculations. Also, you have to use your camera in much more dynamic way than what you would do in a 2D game. So you have to keep a look at that also. And the third thing is, although I'm not a good artist, but I am able to create some basic sprites in 2D. But when it comes to 3D, then I have no idea or no skill of how to create a 3D model, so it would be a bit difficult for me to go about that problem. And as I was low on 3D models and animation, so I decided that I would be going for a first person game, because that would reduce many of my animations and modelings and would make camera control much more easier. Now for the first person character, I have two options to choose. Either I can use the character controller, or I can use the rigid body components and the Unity's built-in physics system to control my character. I searched a lot about them in the internet and found that for my game it would be easier to use the character controller, because I'm not creating a physics-based game, I'm just creating a puzzle game, and it has some basic movements. So if I use the character controller, then I have much more control over my code, and also Unity has a built-in character controller with it, so it would be easy for me to prototype and find the fun in my game. So I came to the conclusion that I would be using the character controller of Unity, and maybe later I would try to code my custom character controller. I was easily able to set up my first person controller that would allow my player to jump, move around, look around, and move up and down stairs and ramps. Although the jump is little bit high, but I'll try to fix that later. The next thing is to add the puzzle element in my game. Till now I have an idea of what I wanted to add in my game as a puzzle. This was inspired by 3 games that I have recently played. The first 2 are very popular, Cube 2 and Portal. The third game, or I should say an educational game that I've played, was regarding logic gates. The name of the game is Make It True, in which there is a bunch of circuits and you have to arrange the inputs in such a way that the final output of the circuit always comes true. So I think this kind of mechanism would be very good, as since this concept is very popular and familiar with people, so they would also love playing it. So my idea was to create various types of obstructions in your way which are controlled by buttons. These obstructions act like logic gates to remove the obstruction. And by this way, if I would mix different gates around in my scene, then it would be pretty interesting to play and figure your way out. I started by creating two different scripts, the gate script and the button script. In the button script, I would link the reference of all the gates that the button is connected, and each time the player switch the button on or off, it would return a boolean value according to its current state and send it to all the gates that it references. And then in the gate script, it would check all the values of the list, and if the values satisfy the gates condition, then it would open, else it would close, or it would not do anything basically. I added a bit of twist to the mechanism. So the changes I have made is, in the game you would have a burning lantern, and the buttons are also lanterns that can burn and hold fire. So each time you switch on a button, then the fire would be transferred from your lantern to the button's lantern and the button would switch on. Similarly, if the button is on, then you can take off its fire and switch the button off. So this way you have limited number of fire in your level, and you have to calculate precisely how you want to use that fire so that you open all the gates in the scene and move out. After playing my game a bit, I realized that the kind of puzzle mechanism that I have chosen requires a big spatial area, big area in space, and in a first person perspective, if you try to solve these levels, then it sometimes becomes very tricky and very unfair, because you are able to only see a tiny portion of all the puzzle, and so there are only two ways left for you to move out of the level, either by remembering each and every combination of the puzzle, which is okay for small levels, but as the level progress it would be very hard and very irritating, or to solve the level by luck, which is nearly impossible. Now this time I abandoned the sci-fi theme and decided to go for a cartoony and a minimalist style. I decided that I would go for a third person view, in which you would act like a third power that would control the character in your game. You can change or rotate the camera angles and look around the level. You can direct the player to any particular destination you want and make him do certain things to get out of the level. This way, the mechanism of the level remains the same, plus now you can see all the parts of the level, or most of the parts of the level at a time, so it would be easier for you to come up with a solution. And by using the click and move method and not allowing the players to have full control over the character, I would also be able to reduce some animations for my game. So now I think this would be a better approach to take, and I would try to design levels in this way. After a few iterations, I settled for a orthographic tile based level inspired by games like Monument Valley, Mekorama or Path of Giants. After playing this style of level, I find out something, that instead of using the lantern and fire method, which was a bit too confusing, we can make the buttons that would power the gates as a tile in a level. So if you have to traverse a level, then you have to move over these buttons, and when you would move over these buttons, then it would change their states. So this feature completely solves the limitation problem, because now the player has to pre-calculate all its move, including traversing the level, because this would change the configuration of the level. And also it would be pretty interesting to see people solve these types of puzzles. So right now this was all I was able to do. So this was the first week of development, and basically it was involved in iterating between different play styles that I want to adopt in the game, and this is the final product or a level that I want to show this week. So that was it for this week. I know this video was a bit late because I was pretty busy with my college application process and I wasn't able to create any video, but now I'm back and I would be posting videos every week. Also, I do some gaming and game development live streams on YouTube, so if you want to join, then subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, and if you like the video, tell me in the comment section. Also, if you have any feedback regarding the game, if you have any suggestion, then it is very good if you post it as early in the development process as possible. That's it for today. If you like the video, then like the video, and if you don't like, then dislike the video. That's it, and we'll see you in the next video. Till then, dream big, hustle hard, and keep watching the tech.